league, bro. Last year when things was transpiring, everybody seen it. You could not cut on your TV and not see Kevin Stefanski sabotaging Shedeur. It was making New York Post, ABC News, NBC, ESPN, social media, you name it. Everybody and their mama was talking about the buffoonery Kevin Stefanski was doing in regards to Shedeur Sanders. Well, it looked like that.
Enough of this dude.
Kevin Stefanski thought he could get away with what he did to Shedeur Sanders back in Cleveland. But karma isn't waiting. It's already catching up in Atlanta. Word is leaking that Falcons players are quietly looking for a way out after news spread about Stfansky lying and undermining Shedeur last season. Kyle Pitts could be gone any day. David and Njoku are reportedly being poached right out of Cleveland. And here's the wild part. Players across the league have not forgotten. They saw everything unfold on national TV. They watched Stfansky crush a rookie's confidence for no reason at all. Now that he's in Atlanta, the room is cold. Nobody wants to suit up for him. The latest leaks about the exodus prove one thing: mistreat a player, and the whole league is watching. Stfansky's reputation is burned, and it all starts with Shedeur Sanders.
That certain players is not feeling Kevin Stefanski. We just seen players speak openly about this. We just seen players speak behind the scenes. Now I'm hearing that it's finna affect the roster for the 2026 season. Now, David Njoku, former Brown.
Yo, you need to hear what's going down right now in Atlanta. It's straight up wild. And it all ties back to what Kevin Stefanski pulled on Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland. And if you think this is just some random coincidence, you're missing the bigger picture. Here's the deal. Kevin Stefanski just got hired by the Atlanta Falcons as their brand new head coach. Fresh chapter, all that. You'd think players would be hyped, ready to give it their all for the new guy. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Reports are already coming in, and we're talking before the season even kicks off, that Falcons players are scouting exits. Kyle Pitts, their first-round star tight end, might be packing his bags. Guys are whispering behind closed doors that they're not feeling Stfansky. The locker room vibe is already toxic, and the man hasn't even run a single snap yet. Now you're probably wondering, what does this have to do with Shedeur Sanders? Everything. Because here's the part nobody in the mainstream wants to touch. Players across the league remember exactly what Stfansky did to Shedeur last season in Cleveland. Let me break it down. Last year, the whole football world saw Stfansky sabotage Shedeur Sanders. And I'm not talking minor coaching disagreements or some philosophical clash. I'm talking full-on, obvious, in-your-face sabotage that made national headlines. You couldn't scroll ESPN without seeing it. ABC News covered it. NBC ran stories. The New York Post had pieces. Social media blew up. Everyone was talking about Stefansky's ridiculous moves with Shedeur. This wasn't some niche inside football drama. This was mainstream, impossible to ignore.
Is caught up again, busted in a lie. He's getting destroyed online. This is nuts. We got to get into all of it because this is wild. We got to get into Kevin Stefanski being exposed about lying about Shedeur Sanders sabotage once again. And then he tried to make an excuse for playing Dylan Gabriel, who can't stand up tall and see over a box of cookies over Shedeur Sanders, which is the biggest running joke.
And players notice that stuff too. Because here's the thing most people don't get about the NFL. It's tiny. Everyone knows everyone. They talk. They watch everything happening across the league. So when a coach treats a rookie like Stfansky treated Shedeur, it doesn't just vanish. It sticks in everyone's mind. Now Stfansky rolls into Atlanta thinking he can hit reset, thinking he's got a clean slate, but players are already like, nah, we saw that. We know who you are. Let's break down what's actually shaking in Atlanta right now. Kyle Pitts is reportedly looking to bolt. This is a guy who dominated college football, a first-round phenom, and a generational talent. And he wants out before Stfansky even steps on the field. Why? Because Pitts saw what went down with Shedeur. Every player did. And if Stfansky was willing to derail a quarterback with Shedeur's skill, pedigree, and work ethic, imagine what he might do to others. But it gets even juicier. David Njoku, the tight end from Cleveland who played alongside Shedeur, just announced he's leaving too. Rumor is Stfansky might be angling to lure Njoku to Atlanta since Pitts is gone. Pause for a second. Njoku witnessed it all. He was in those meetings in that locker room, watching a rookie quarterback get shredded by coaches who were supposed to have his back. So, why would he jump to Atlanta? Maybe he won't. Maybe he's leaving Cleveland for totally different reasons, and Stfansky is just scrambling to snag anyone who might actually suit up for him. Here's the hard truth. Stefanski's rep is in ruins. And it's all because of what he did to Shedeur Sanders. Let me rewind you to last season so you get the full picture. Shedeur enters the league as a 5th-round pick, already fighting the slight from the draft, already proving everyone wrong. And what does Stfansky do?
Impact he has on the National Football League, bro. Last year when things was transpiring, everybody synced it. You could not cut on your TV and not see Kevin Stefanski sabotaging Shedeur. It was making New York Post, ABC News, NBC, ESPN, social media, you name it. Everybody and their mama was talking about the buffoonery Kevin Stefanski.
He refuses to give Shedeur first-team reps. He messes with him on the depth chart. He sets him up in scenarios that are practically designed to fail. And when Shedeur still dominates, throwing for 300-plus yards, leading game-winning drives, and making the Pro Bowl as a rookie, Stfansky can't even acknowledge it. The sabotage was so blatant that even national media, who usually stay neutral, were calling it out. Chase Daniel, the former NFL quarterback who breaks down film, flat out said the Browns weren't helping Shedeur. He highlighted plays where Shedeur made insane blocks, showed elite football IQ, and did all the subtle things perfectly, and no one noticed. But when Drake made the exact same play, it was on SportsCenter, trending on Twitter, labeled a sign of leadership and toughness. Same play, totally different treatment. Why? Because Stfansky and the Cleveland media machine had already decided Shedeur wasn't allowed to succeed. And league-wide, players saw it all. They watched Shedeur get disrespected. They saw him handle it with poise. They saw him perform at an elite level despite the sabotage. And they saw Stefansky's true colors shine through. Now he's in Atlanta, and players don't want anything to do with him. That's not luck. That's karma. But here's where it gets even wilder. Back in Cleveland, the Browns are still stuck on the quarterback situation. Instead of fully committing to Shedeur, the Pro Bowler, the rookie record setter, the jersey-selling machine, they're talking about bringing in competition. Mary Kay Cat, the Cleveland media personality who's been part of the problem from day one, is out here tossing around names like Garrett Nussmeier, mentioning drafting another QB in round 2 or 3, and even speculating Deshaun Watson could compete with Shedeur. Are you serious? Shedeur just proved he belongs. He did it despite awful coaching, despite sabotage, despite the media dragging him every single day. And the Browns' response? Let's add more competition.
To this idea of like a Garrett Nussmeier, who after week 1 of the college football season this year was QB1 basically. Like that was the guy. You're talking about a guy who's a coach's son, super talented. Last year was dealing with injuries and just a really chaotic situation at LSU.
This is exactly what players across the league are seeing. This is exactly why nobody wants to suit up for organizations that operate like this. Because if you can put up Pro Bowl numbers as a rookie and still get no respect, what's even the point? And this is why Atlanta players are already thinking about leaving before Stfansky even sets foot on the field. They know if he treated Shedeur Sanders that way, a kid with arguably the most famous football dad, millions of fans, and the world watching, then imagine what he might do to them. Stfansky thought he could escape his Cleveland mistakes by taking the Atlanta job.
He thought the story would change.
He thought people would forget. But the NFL doesn't work that way. Your reputation follows you. And Stefansky's rep now reads, the coach who sabotaged Shedeur Sanders. The coach who couldn't develop a talented young QB. The coach who let his ego get in the way of winning. Here's why this matters beyond Stfansky and Atlanta. This is about accountability in the NFL. For far too long, coaches have been able to mistreat players, crush their confidence, wreck careers, and just move to the next gig with zero consequences. But what happened to Shedeur was so public, so clear, so documented. It can't be brushed aside. The entire football world saw it. And now, for the first time in a long while, there are actual consequences. Stfansky can't hide from his past. Players don't want to play for him. Free agents will think twice about signing with Atlanta. Draft picks will have doubts. All because of what he did to Shedeur. That's powerful. That's accountability. That's karma in real time. And the craziest part? Shedeur doesn't even have to say a word. He doesn't need to attack Stfansky. He doesn't need to air dirty laundry. He just keeps being himself, mature, professional, talented, confident, and lets his play do the talking. Meanwhile, Stfansky is stuck with the fallout. He's dealing with players who don't want to be there. He's dealing with a ruined reputation. He's dealing with everyone knowing he sabotaged one of the league's most promising young QBs for no reason. And back in Cleveland, they're finally realizing the massive mistake they made. They let Stfansky destroy their relationship with a generational talent. They let the media tear Shedeur down all season. They created a toxic environment that nearly crushed a rookie's confidence. And now they're scrambling, talking about bringing in other quarterbacks, creating competition, and leaving no stone unturned. All because they know they blew it. They know they should have backed Shedeur from day one. They know they should have told Stfansky to cut the nonsense and actually develop the kid.
There's a narrative being painted by the Cleveland Brown media. They're setting us up for the battle between Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson, and whatever damn quarterback they get. We had reports of Russell Wilson, Malik Willis, and possibly Mendoza coming to Cleveland, bro. This is beyond me that they're sitting here like they don't have a quarterback that needs to be developed to lead this damn football team to the playoffs.
But they didn't. And now Stefanski's gone, and Cleveland is left scrambling to rebuild trust with a player they clearly betrayed. Good luck with that. Here's the thing about Shedeur that drives people nuts. He doesn't need their approval. He doesn't need validation. He's got a global fan base. He's got endorsements. He's got a Pro Bowl under his belt. He's got tape that speaks louder than words. So when Cleveland talks about adding competition, Shedeur's probably just smiling because he knows he's better than anyone they bring in. He knows he outworked everyone last season, even while being sabotaged. He knows the only thing holding him back was coaching, and that coach is now in Atlanta, wreaking havoc elsewhere. The irony? It's thick. Stfansky left Cleveland because his sabotage of Shedeur got so toxic it became impossible to ignore. He heads to Atlanta thinking he can start fresh, but players immediately eye the exit because they know his history. Meanwhile, Shedeur is still in Cleveland, still grinding, still preparing, still building his legacy. And the Browns have a choice: commit to Shedeur and build around him, or keep this wishy-washy nonsense and waste a generational talent. My bet? They'll figure it out because business is business. And Shedeur Sanders is the smartest business decision the Browns can make. He sells jerseys. He brings fans. He delivers on the field. And now, with Stfansky gone, he finally has a shot to thrive without sabotage. Atlanta? They're about to learn what Cleveland already knows. Kevin Stefanski's ego outweighs his coaching skills, and that's a disaster waiting to happen. Players are sharp. They watch film. They talk. They know what went down in Cleveland, and they're not about to gamble their careers with a coach who has already sabotaged his own players to protect his ego. That's why Kyle Pitts wants out. That's why players are quietly speaking up. That's why Atlanta's situation is already a mess before the first snap. And it all goes back to Shedeur Sanders. Because what Stfansky did was so blatant, so public, and so undeniable that it permanently destroyed his reputation. You reap what you sow. Stfansky sowed sabotage, ego, and lies, and now he's facing player departures, a ruined reputation, and a skeptical fan base before coaching a single game. Meanwhile, Shedeur's reputation is spotless. Handled adversity with grace. Performed at a Pro Bowl level despite sabotage. Never threw anyone under the bus. Stayed professional. Stayed confident. Stayed true to himself. That's the difference between someone built to last and someone just trying to survive until their next gig. Stfansky thought he could get away with it. He thought he could mistreat Shedeur with no consequences. He was wrong. The NFL is watching. Players are watching. Fans are watching. Everyone is taking notes. So here's what I want to know from you. Do you think Kevin Stefanski deserves what's happening in Atlanta, or should players give him a fresh start? And more importantly, do you think the Browns will finally commit to Shedeur now that Stfansky is gone? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments, because this conversation is far from over. And if you made it this far, you already know what's up. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because Shedeur Sanders' story is just getting started. When he proves everyone wrong next season, and he will, you're going to want to be here for every single moment. Let's go.